Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episodes 57, 58, and 59 of Ace of the Diamonds Season 1. And oh buddy, we're getting into the last two innings of the final of the qualifiers, and it's getting towards the end of the season, so I'm getting really nervous. I don't know what to expect. Right now, Inashiro still has the lead, but it's still anybody's game. And Sawamura has just come onto the field and struck Mei out. Oh, it was so satisfying seeing Mei get struck out, especially after Mei's whole thing. I love Mei as a character. It's the thing. We talked earlier, someone commented, because I was like, Mei's really arrogant. And somebody was like, well, arrogance is when you don't have the talent to back up confidence like that and egoism. And I was like, okay, well, Mei does have the talent, but Mei's a gremlin. And Mei's big thing, some of you have nailed it on the head in the comments. You've been like, Mei underestimates his opponents very much. Mei is so self-confident that he's like, nah, I got this. Y'all are weak. I can take you out. And Sawamura, just coming in there and doing exactly what he needed to do. I've been waiting for that. Like, no hesitation, no fumbles, everybody watching, and he struck Mei out and got the inning over and kept Inashiro from scoring. It's like, and bases were loaded. It was like, well, there was two runners on base. It was just a perfect scenario that Mei could have caused a big upset and pretty much sealed the deal in the game. And Sawamura coming in clutch. I love it. I friggin' love it. So, yeah. But it's still Inashiro's lead. We've got 2 innings left. I'm really nervous because Sawamura had a great inning this time, but it was his first person batter he was up against. And I'm like, dude, there are some times where Sawamura can kind of get like Tamba, and he gets in his own head sometimes. And I'm like, I need Sawamura just to pitch with energy. Do like Yuki told him, and just pitch with energy and be on top of his game, and then we'll be fine. But he's just got to last 2 more innings. But still, they need to score. They need to score. And here's the true testament is going to be, is Mei going to give a run or not? Because I said in the last reaction, either one of 3 things are going to happen. Either Mei is going to be super pissed from Sawamura striking him out, and he's going to have a weakness, and they're going to take advantage of it. 2, he's going to be so fired up and on his game, he's just going to be pitching 100% against all of them. Or 3, it's going to be anybody's ball game is going to kind of run the middle. And I'm thinking it's going to kind of run the middle, but I don't know. Like, Mei's eyes were so red. It's like when the jilted ex sees how good the new flame is. And it's like, ooh, I don't know. But man, it's like episode set after episode set, it's been consistently really good. And I've been told through Patreon, thank you, Kelsey. Again, Kelsey was like, hey, just so you know, because I was trying to find one more set of episodes to watch 4 in a row, because that would round out the season. The last set of season 1 would be a 3-episode thing. And so Kelsey let me know on Patreon. She was like, hey, just so you know, you might want to watch episodes 60 through 64 together. And I'm like, okay, that'll solve that problem. I'll watch those 4 episodes as a chunk. And then the rest of the season will be 3-episode series. And then when we get to season 2 and season 3, I've got to think about some things, because I know that I've been told there's some like filler episodes that we can skip past, and we've got OVAs to worry about, so we may have to do like a catch-up video. I don't know, like a recap. I don't know. It's been a long journey so far because we're like 57 episodes in, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, so it's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, 57, 58, and 59. This episode is called Reliable Underclassmen, which I'm sure is referring to Haruichi, Furuya, and Sawamura, because they are underclassmen, and they've been so far pretty reliable in this game. We haven't seen as much out of Haruichi, but Furuya pitched amazing the 5 innings that he did. Sawamura came out strong, and I'm sure Haruichi can get the job done if he needs to. So we'll talk about that. But I've got my notes. I got my piece of paper for notes ready. I'm all set to go, y'all. So let's do this, shall we? I'm so nervous. We got 2 more innings. This game has lasted a long time so far, but I don't want it to end. I want it to keep going. I don't want there to be a winner. I'm so scared it's going to be Inashiro. My gut is telling me it's going to be Inashiro winning, and I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for them to lose because they've worked so hard. Maybe they'll win. Maybe they'll win. We'll see. But let's do this, shall we? We're going to start this episode here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I keep thinking that this game can't get any more epic than it already is. And then 3 more episodes happen, and it's more epic than it already was. Oh my gosh! This set of episodes was insanely tense, and we're down 3 episodes to do 1 inning. 1 inning, and we still have 1 inning to go. So, the fact that I've been recommended to watch 4 episodes in the next section makes me think that the game is going to end in the next section of episodes. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I didn't think that Seidou would get ahead by 1 run in this set of episodes. I did not think that. I am so nervous because Sawamura has had 2 amazing innings. I mean, he only pitched that 1 time in the last inning, but he's had an amazing inning in this set of episodes. And I'm like, Sawamura, I want you to close this game out, but oh my God, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm so tense for the next set of episodes because it seems like it's going to be the ending of the game. And I'm not ready at all for it. I'm not ready at all for it. Not at all. Nope. But let's talk about these episodes because they were so good. Oh my gosh. This series just gets better and better. I don't know if I could rank the episodes in this series. I don't think I could. I don't think it'd be possible because they just get better and better. And it's so hard because one thing that's amazing about this series is that at this point in the game, at this point in the series, we are 57, 58, 59 episodes into this series. And there's still character development. There's still all the Nakama moments. There's still everything adding up and moments having payoff. And it's so satisfying. And I love it so much. This may be becoming one of my favorite sports anime just because it's so damn good. It may be becoming one of my favorite sports anime because it's so good. I don't know. We got 2 seasons after this, right? But okay, so reliable underclassmen indeed. Ah, man. And these Furuya, Sawamura, and Haruichi are just first years. They're going to be monsters when they're 3rd years. They're going to be like an unstoppable force. And Raichi in the mix too. It's going to be I hope that we get to see them as 3rd years. That would be amazing because they'll just be ridiculous. But so I like Kataoka's advice in episode 57 where he's like, forget the changeup. But Mei doing all these changeups is crazy. And Kataoka saying, forget it. He's like, we can't do anything about it. We can't stop the changeup. He's been doing a lot of them. What can we do? Just forget about it. Hit it if you can. He's like, we've got to be aggressive. And he's like, what can we do? The idea of Shirasu getting the bunt in and getting the fist pump. It's like, what a bunt. I like with Harada is definitely Mei's like grounding anchor. Without Harada, I think Mei would fly off the handle because Mei is so hot-headed. We'll talk about that locker room thing. Jeez. But Mei is so hot-headed and so AA type personality that he needs somebody like Harada who is smart, who is experienced, who is calm to keep him in check. Because without that, I think that he'd just fly off the handle. And then, because there's a few times in these sets of episodes that you can tell Mei's like, no, I don't want to do that. And Harada's like, you need to do that. And I love that point in episode 57 where Harada, like, he stops him because Mei's like, I know what I'm doing. And Harada's like, let me finish. He's like, I'm the catcher. It's my job. Let me do my job. And I'll let you do your job. And it's like, So Harada's asking Mei, he's like, you got to trust me on this. We got to meet part way. We're a battery. We've got to compromise. We're a battery. You got to listen to what I'm telling you. And so I like that. I like that a lot. And Mei, like, hitting him with the catcher's mitt. It's like very much like reassuring him, like, I trust you. You got to trust me. I really like that. Kuramochi, we'll talk about Kuramochi here in a second. But I also like that Mei, they're talking about conceding the run. And Mei, what I love about Mei's character is his mentality of conceding a run. He's like, oh, Ray and the others, they think this is a 60-40 game. Now this is an 80-20 game. And it's like, we're not conceding anything. To hell with that. Like, I love that attitude that Mei has. He's like, we're not giving up and playing it safe. We're going to be aggressive and stomp them. Like, he's like, destroyer of worlds. He's like, I'm not going to take that. So I love Mei having that mentality of just not letting anybody, not playing it safe. He's like, we're going to be bold. I mean, be bold and intelligent about things. Speaking of intelligent about things, thank God, Rio. I said in the reaction, but not so much in the YouTube comments, but on Patreon, we have been having a fiery debate about Rio. In the last 4 episodes, we've been having this fiery debate about Rio and his decision to not tell Kateoka about the injury. And he finally tells him about the injury. Finally. And at the right moment, right? At the right moment. I was like, Kuramochi had the MVP play last set of episodes. I would argue that there's so many MVPs for Seidou in this episode. You had Sawamura, you had Yuki, you had Haruichi, and you have Rio to an extent. Because Rio had the courage to finally say, look, and Rio, we've established, is kind of a proud guy. Like he's prided himself over putting Haruichi in his place, being like, you're first year, let your big brother do his thing. And in this moment, Rio's like, no, I know that my injury is a problem, so we need to replace me, and I can't move like I want to, and it's a hazard. So I'm so thankful he finally spoke up, and that Haruichi got put in there. The montage with Haruichi and his brother, the montage of Haruichi always looking up to his brother and wanting to be like him, and the wooden bat and the bat breaking. Oh my gosh, the bat breaking. And Mei said he's like, I'm going to break that wooden bat, because we established the wooden bat's kind of like a bold choice, not a typical choice. And Mei seems like the type of character that anytime someone challenges him, and especially first years, I find that interesting. It's the first years that get under his skin the most. And I think that's because these first years are so good, and Mei knows what it's like to be a first year and have an experience and work your way up. And he's like, oh, you guys just think you're as good as me? You know, being his chaotic gremlin self. But he really gets flustered at the first years. And I think that Haruichi coming up with the wooden bat, and he's like, oh, you think you're so great? I'm going to break that wooden bat. And he does, but it gets the run. Oh, man. So satisfying. But I love that Kuramochi getting that weight lifted off his shoulders when Rio admitted everything. And then them all realizing as second and third years that they had very reliable underclassmen. I love that. I absolutely love it. It just, that point where they walked past each other, it was so good. It was so good. And then episode 58, the 3-hole, getting on to June. But I love the callback to Shunshin when Haruichi, when he was at bat, and Shunshin could see Mei's thinking process. He's like, oh, you think that him being on the inside so close to the box is a thing, but he's gonna trick you. I like that Shunshin called that out. I also like the comparison of Haruichi to Raichi, and there was kind of that metaphor with the wooden bats between the two of them. Like Haruichi had the wooden bat that he chose over the light metal bat because he wanted to give himself a challenge, because I like that he commented he's not going to catch up to his brother without a challenge. I love that. And it kind of relates back to Raichi choosing the money tree bat, because that's what's going to make him stronger. Like both Haruichi and Raichi accepted these big challenges because they knew it would make them better players. And I love that. I love that comparison. I never would have thought of that, but the bat breaking, oh, that was such a scene. And so Haruichi has his big moment. And then June, the spits of Seidou. I love that we get that he's always been chasing a ball, and that connects to a dog. Like the spits of Seidou. It makes all the more sense. But I love that June went from somebody that wanted to be a pitcher to someone that realized how talented he was as a batter. But I also love the seemingly unspoken, because I say unspoken because Yuki has no clue about it, the rivalry between him and Yuki. And I never really noticed it until he just came out and said it, and I'm like, yeah, they kind of do have a rivalry, him and Yuki. But I like that June is like, I'm never going to beat Yuki in a million years, but I'm going to keep trying. Like he knows he's going to keep trying to beat Yuki, even though he thinks that he won't. And I was like, June, you may beat Yuki in the relationship category. You may end up with the third year manager. Who knows? I'll still ship him. I still am shipping him. But then, man, God, Yuki, I definitely decided the thumbnail is going to be, I may change up the whole thumbnail thing now so I can get that whole shot of them in there. but the thumbnail of Yuki and versus May, because you had the captain of the team versus the ace. Like, they're two of their best players head to head. And it's like, man, Yuki, giving props to him and Tamba having that relationship of both being characters that kind of underestimated themselves, and then Kachioka recognizing how good they both are, and then the teammates recognizing how good they both are. It's like, But Kunitomo, what a straight up stone cold badass. Like, just when the manager was like, do we need to send a messenger out to May? And he's like, we don't need a messenger. It's like, they know what's on the line. It's like, honey, and you just know the problem with this game is both sides want to win so badly, and they both have justification. Like, May's a little shit, and he's cocky, and he's frustrating and annoying at times, but I have to respect May for holding to his guns and staying in character, and May being like, I want to go to nationals. And May's thing is he wants to go to nationals to redeem himself. And so there's a little bit of selfishness there, whereas Seidou wants to go to nationals for the team, May wants to go for himself. But still, you can tell Harada and Carlos and the others all want to go to nationals too. So it's hard because you want both sides to win and prove themselves at nationals, but then they both can't win. So it's like, what do we do? And I'm so scared. Even though we've got a run up, even though Seidou has a run up, I'm like, there's still one more inning. And the problem is, it's going to end on Seidou pitching. That's the problem, right? Because the issue is that this is the last time for Seidou to score. That's the problem. So if they don't get a run this time, it's still going to be 4-3. And my fear is that Inishiro's going to get a run or two and win. And it's going to be, it's their favor. It's like, I hate it. But yeah, so then episode 59, man, Fearless. Episodes 57 and 58 had the more epic, like, stills, but episode 59 was so good. And then Yuki getting that run, getting all those runs for May, and May saying, he's like, oh, no. He's like, it's fine. Yuki's just that good. The batter's just that good. And that's the first time we've seen him calm and not being like a little fiery gremlin this whole time. And Masa was like, yeah, this really affected you because you're being calm. So then he has 4-3. And then Sawamura and Kawakami makes me so nervous. I'm like, they better not switch Sawamura out in this last inning. They better not, because Sawamura's has had an amazing inning and a really good pitch. So I'm like, don't you switch him out for Kawakami? No! I don't trust Kawakami to close it at all. I really don't. Sawamura is in a good headspace in this episode. So unless something happens and he concedes a run and the coach gets nervous and switches it out to Kawakami, I'm like, don't. Because I don't know how ties work in baseball. I don't know if you tie a game, do you just keep going till somebody scores? I don't know baseball well enough to know what happens if you tie. I don't know what happens. So here's the thing that could happen, though. They could get a run and tie, and we have to do another inning. And, oh God, and they get another inning, and then Seidou doesn't score, and then the coach gets nervous, and he doesn't want Sawamura to pitch, and so he throws in Kawakami because he has more experience, and then Kawakami messes up. So that's my fear. I don't know how ties work in baseball, but that is my fear, is that they're going to throw Kawakami in at the last minute, and he's going to fuck it up. Pardon my language, but that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. Because I don't trust Kawakami. I just don't. No, not after that last game. No. Nope. So I don't know. It makes me nervous. And Iguchi, the fact that the coach is having Iguchi warm up is like troubling for May, because he's been pitching this entire game. I wonder if they would replace him with Iguchi in the last inning. Just if they tie, if they replace him in the last inning. I don't know. So, the Inashiro thing about having the two, man, the double play. Holy cow. Let's talk about Sawamura. We need to talk about Sawamura because I didn't even write it down because I was so like, but that, first of all, that bold play And we didn't see anything out of Kataoka, so I'm like, oh, was that something, is that gonna give Kataoka like a red flag about Sawamura? Because Sawamura, and even the crowd was like, the crowd gasped. They were like, oh, he took the ball and he made a bold play. He threw it to second to get that one guy out because he knew he was fast. And it paid off. It paid off. And I wrote down, Konitomo had some great one-liners in this. I wrote down Konitomo's advice. He was like, or his little saying there, he was like, that was a bold move for a first year with inexperience. It could have been a disaster, but the past is over. You know, who needs memories, right? The past is over. He's like, results are everything. The result is everything. That doesn't matter how you got there. The matter is that you did. A bold move. Yeah, damn. And then right after that, he's like, don't give these fearless first years any momentum. And so that's the whole title of Fearless is like, these first years, they don't realize how dire this game is because this is their first experience in a qualifier like this. So they don't, the pressure, like even when Sawamura's pitching, he's like, I don't know what it'll be like to go to nationals, but I'm not afraid. So it's like they're fearless. And he's like, they don't understand the stakes. So don't let him get the momentum, right? Because May knows the stakes, and that's been to his detriment in this whole game. May knows the stakes, and that's been to his disadvantage, right? So, oh my gosh. But Sawamura pitching the cutter, and they're all like, we didn't see that coming. And it's like the cutter that gets the double play. Insanity, y'all. Absolute insanity. And then, yeah. And then May's freak out. So that happened. May having just a freak out, and they all just sit there, and even Carlos is like, well, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. It's like, I can only imagine what his freak out was after nationals last year, but May getting it all out of his system, and the coach just letting it happen. The coach not saying a word because he's like, because it's like May knows what he did. He knows he messed up, and he's gonna get it out of his system one way or another. And they may be like, oh, I feel refreshed. It's like they're all like, dude, you're crazy. You crazy. But damn, that last shot of May by himself, I'm like, sure, you gonna make us feel bad for May? You gonna make us feel bad for May being by himself? Are we gonna see some Miyuki May parallels? Because I feel like that's where we're going. I feel like that's what we're about to happen, is some May Miyuki parallels. Because May, when the night before the game, was by himself under the covers, and this showed him like by himself on the bed. So I'm like, are we gonna get the May's by himself angle? Because we've gotten that with Miyuki, but the thing with Miyuki is very self-sufficient, and he still forges bonds with his teammates and everything. He just has been well. I wonder if the circumstances are different for them both being alone. Because with Miyuki, he kind of, even though Miyuki's, I'm sure, sad his dad isn't there to watch his game, he understands that his dad's always busy and has a job, and he kind of has accepted that and has somehow found a way to be independent despite that, and he doesn't seem resentful of any of that. But with May, I wonder if it's different. Probably is. But damn, these 3 episodes, I was on the edge of my seat. I was scared and nervous and tense, and I honestly, I will be honest with y'all. I love Haikyuu. I love Haikyuu to death. It's Haikyuu. I've loved that anime so much, and it's become and I would say of the sports anime I've watched, Haikyuu is my favorite because of the characters. Not necessarily the volleyball games in particular, but because of the characters and what happens with them over the course of the series. And they have their moments. If you read the Haikyuu, the manga's amazing. I like it more than the anime. But I love the anime too. But Haikyuu isn't necessarily about the big tension of the sport. It's about the characters and the moments during the games that define the characters, right? But this is kind of different. This is all about the game, and the game becomes defining for the characters. So it's kind of like an inverse of Haikyuu in a weird way. And I love it because the game being so tense and there's so much stakes, and you just feel that tension throughout the entire game, and it just keeps building and building. Like this, we've been on this one game for like 12 episodes, 15 episodes. It's been a lot. But we have been, so, And the funny thing is you think it would get boring, but it doesn't, because there's so much tension and you get all this stuff with the characters and centered around them. So it doesn't feel boring. Even after watching 59 episodes, I'm still like amazed that we still have surprises. So I'm not ready for the next set of episodes. Not at all. Nope. If we're in the last inning, I am not ready. No siree. But it can't be helped. Cannot be helped. So, yup. I'm so curious to know what your thoughts are about these episodes. These were amazing. I'm so on board with the series. I'm so ready to see what happens. It just gets better and better. What can I say? So, in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with episodes 60 through 64 of Ace of the Diamond. Bye.